So I'm tabbing right over to the Resto Shaman, doing big pressure, trying to close out this game. And then I'm able to kill the Resto Shaman, and then we get 6 wins in that 2900 MMR lobby. What's up, guys? In this video we got some nice solo shuffle content to go over, a beautiful 6-0 in a high MMR lobby. I stream a lot on Twitch, link is in the description, so go check a follow to my stream if you'd like to see more Windwalker gameplay, and I'll have my talent import string linked in the description if you'd like to try out the build that I'm running for this video. And as well, just a disclaimer, I do not have my 2 set or my 4 set. I don't have any tier pieces, so I do not have an unfair advantage over any of these players. Let's jump right into it. Alright, so the first matchup in the solo shuffle, I get paired with an Ellie Shaman and a Resto Shaman versus Evoker, Shadow Priest Pharaoh. So when playing with an Ellie Shaman, you always want to try to support your Shaman and always hit what he can hit and sort of have like a front to back play style. And always just trying to connect damage with your Ellie Shaman because he can do a lot of burst if he's able to hit something. So at the start, really important, I instantly dispel my Devouring Plague. Anytime you verse a Shadow Priest, Detox, I have my Devouring Plague weak aura, and it just shows my Devouring Plague. So I can instantly detox it off. So Feral opens. I pop my Tiger on the Priest right away. Feral opens. I'm going to turn around, incap him off my Ellie. Instantaneous. As soon as my Ellie gets stunned, Tiger Priest, incap Feral off the peel. Alright, now we just charge straight at this Priest. We do the go. Get stunned, get a nice dispel for my healer. We do the burst rotation, and then as soon as he grips the Priest, I see my Ellie Shaman in the back. He's got a lasso on the Feral. Instantly swap over to this Feral with my Serenity. Tab him over, get the Keepers rolling, and then as soon as he dips out, I'm going to just quickly line the Siphon, dispel my Devouring Plague, and then go right back in. Back on the Priest. Doing huge damage to him. I do get feared here, but it breaks right away, and again, instantly detoxing my Devouring Plagues. Really important that I'm keep taking those off because that's a lot of the Priest damage. You see the Priest, his damage currently, he's doing very low damage for what a Shadow Priest should be doing. I'm instantly taking off those Devouring Plagues off myself when I can, and it's just really messing up his damage, which is really good for us, especially in the momentum of the solo shuffle. So here, I get stunned up, triggering a Karma, get pretty low there, and then I'm going to do a go of my own. So it's really good to shove these 30-second goes in between your Serenity. So I have my Strike of Windlord up in 5. I got my Phalanx Stomp up soon as well. So after this, I have to trigger a Karma because I get low. And then now I want to do my go for counter pressure. So while my Karma's up, I'm going to incap the Evoker. After I detox my Devouring Plague, of course. Always got to keep that in mind. I'm going to incap the Evoker. Then I get a Phalanx Stomp, and I get a Strike of the Windlord, and I shove this mini go on the Priest, which is really good to do, especially for pressure, just gas pedaling. My Shaman gets a nice pool on him, so then we're just continuing to crank the Priest in the pool, and then we're just riding the Priest. We get dispersed, instantly over to the Pharaoh. Just hitting whatever my Ellie Shaman can hit in the open. I don't want to chase if they pull back. You see how the Shadow Priest is back over there? I don't want to just chase the Priest over there. I want to swap back and support my Ellie Shaman and hit what he can hit. And it's important that I'm putting Mortal Strike with my Rising Sun Kick on that target. So when I hit whatever my Ellie Shaman's hitting, he's doing big burst. If I swap over, I'm getting that Mortal Strike effect from my Rising Sun Kick, and it's just creating a whole lot more pressure by doing that. So the Priest, he actually put, when he went back there with his disperse, he placed a Siphon. So it's and he silences my healer. So it's my job to kill it. I'm gonna Serpent Kick over, Kiefer's kick, or Kiefer's Tiger Palm up there, and then because the Siphon has a shield on it, I don't want to try to be greedy and save my Rising Sun Kick. You just want to instantly Rising Sun Kick and get those Siphons out of there, because those Siphons cannot be up for very long. Like, those Siphons have to die instantly. Kill the Siphon, instantly detox my Devouring Plague, and my healer gets stunned. I'm just going to port for a second, just to line. When my healer's at a CC, port back, just very briefly. The port here is really good because they're hitting me here. And as soon as my healer gets CC'd, I get my Devouring Plague off, I port, heal myself up a little bit, and as soon as they start committing to my partner, I'm instantly back in there and applying pressure. Gas pedaling. I don't want to be ported out for too long. So here, my leg sweeps back up, so we get a nice double sweep in cap on the healer, get that triple CC, Priest trinkets out, and then we just keep gas pedaling the Priest here. We're in a really good spot here, so now I can push. So now dampening's starting to ramp up, and they don't have any cooldowns left. Priest doesn't have Disperse, he doesn't have Trinket, and the Evoker is running out of heals for him. So if we just gas pedal this Priest, we're gonna win this matchup. So I'm gonna target list out of that, and then the Priest swaps the Feral here. It's really good I tab to this Feral because I have my Keepers available. So as soon as I'm out of the stun, tabbing to the Feral. Proc the Keepers, doing big damage. And here I can push. Feral is in bear form, and he's got his wall up. He's not doing any damage. Just gonna tab over to the Feral real quick, then right back to the Priest. Just doing maximum pressure. And again, always instantly detoxing my Devouring Plagues off. I cannot stress this enough. If you do not do that, you will be getting ran over by most of these priests. You want to be having the most pressure you can. And the faster you detox it off, the better you will do. And so here I pop my Serenity because we have so much momentum and from the gas pedal, and we win the first round. All right, so the next round, I'm with a Feral Druid and an Evoker, and we're versing Shadow Priest, Elite, Resto Shaman. So I have to keep in mind when playing with a Feral Druid, he's going to be doing a lot of cleave pressure by dotting everything up with his bleeds. And I want to also be like tabbing around with my Keepers a lot, especially on my burst to get as much defensive, like pull as many defensive cooldowns from the enemy team as I can. So I'm going to be detoxing that Devouring Plague, very important. So I'm going to go in, so my Feral goes in, it's 2 Rake Stuns on the DPS, so I'm going to follow that up with an in cap on the healer, and then I'm going to double sweep this as well, just get the half sweep on this so we get some pressure. So we're going to get the Ellie's Wall, and then I'm going to instantly swap over to the Priest. Proc my Keepers, doing huge damage to the Priest. As soon as we get the wall, we want to swap over, create maximum pressure. I get feared here, and so they're both in Earthern, and I have the Keepers available for the Resto, so I'm going to tab over to the Shaman real quick, but there's a Psyfiend on me, so I need to get back, and I need to kill that Psyfiend. So I roll over, and I get Mind Games here, so I'm going to have to instantly diffuse off that Mind Games. My teammates are cross CC'd, so I'm the only one that can kill the Psyfiend. So as soon as I finish off the Psyfiend, it's back onto the Ellie Shaman, because the Ellie Shaman is our best kill target to primarily focus on. So we're on the Ellie Shaman, and we're just pumping here, getting my Devouring Plague off, and then, so I actually detox my Devouring Plague, and then the second Devouring Plague, because he reapplies it instantly, I actually just Dark Iron Dwarf it off. So I detox, he reapplies it, and I just dwarf it off. I really do not want these Devouring Plagues on me at this point, because I would just want to gas pedal as much as I can onto this Ellie Shaman. And because I Dark Iron Dwarf all those dots off, I'm going to get a big bonus with my main stat, Agility. So after this Horrify and stuns over, then we can do a go here. So my Feral stuns the Shaman, and as soon as I get out of the stun, I'm going to in-cap the healer to do a go. And it's really important that I'm target listing myself out of this route instead of just hitting the Ellie. Even though the Ellie's on top of me, I really want to get out of this Unleashed Shield from the enemy Shaman. This is going to reduce the healing you take and the damage you do. So it's really important to target list out of these routes. So even though he's right here and I could probably hit him, I just want to target list this route and stand outside of this whirlpool. You really want to try to get out of these pools the best you can. So after that in-cap on the Shaman, I'm going to strike the Windlord with it, and then we get the Shaman's Link. So I'm going to instantly tab over, kill the Link, and then back onto the Ellie Shaman for now. So I'm going to kick his Stormkeeper, and we're just going to keep gas pedaling this Ellie Shaman because we have pressure and we want to ride the momentum. We don't want to lose our pressure right now because we have a lot of sprint pressure. And I see the Ellie sort of going back there. So I'm going to tab to the Priest here real quick with my Feral just to put the Mortal Strike debuff on him with my Rising Sun Kick so that his bleeds are doing some good work. We force the Priest to disperse, and then it's right back over to the Ellie Shaman. He has a Stormkeeper up. It's a good thing they killed the Sky Fury because I was a little bit far away to do that. So it's right back to the Shaman. And right here, they group up and I have my leg sweep available. So this is a nice opportunity. I get the double leg sweep and I'm cranking the Ellie Shaman here. And off this leg sweep, I'm going to in-cap the healer. And then I'm going to continue to gas pedal the Shaman here. He does have Stormkeeper up, so I'm going to have to use trade out my wall here. And then I'm going to target list out of the pool and then go right back over to the priest as I can tap in with my Kiefers because there's an earthen wall totem down here. And you generally don't want to hit into earthen wall totem or do any burst into it if you don't have to. So my Kiefers is up here, so I'm just pumping the priest here. And then I'm going to push back over to the shaman here and with my feral. But because my port originally at the game start, it's all the way back at our starting room. So as we're pushing up to this portion and they've kited us back here, and I don't have any defensive cooldowns, I need to get a new port. It's really important that I do that. So I go over here, I get a new port down so that I do have that defensive if I do need to get out, because my karma's up in 17, diffuse in 20. So I probably will need that port for later because I don't want to have no port by it being all the way back at the other side of the map. So I just want to make sure that I have that available. So I'm going to Phalanx Stomp, kill the cap totem. And here, I'm going to start gas putting the Ellie Shaman. I'm going to in-cap here. And I'm not going to get this Devouring Plague, mainly because we have a lot of pressure here. And we force out the Shaman's Wall. So then after that, I'm going to port out of here for a second. I'm going to get those double, I'm going to get some huge double Vivifies. It's really nice to have this weak aura too that tracks your Vivify cooldown because it's on an internal timer. So you see, after I port, I press my instant Vivify here, and then it resets again, and I get another instant Vivify, and I heal myself up a good amount here before I port back into the fight. Basically how the 10-second Vivify works is on a 10-second timer always. So you get a new, it refreshes every 10 seconds. So if you already have a stack, you can back-to-back instant Vivify. And I tracked it with that weak aura, so I just back-to-back instant Vivify. And I actually do a good chunk of healing with that Escape from Reality bonus. So that's going to top my HP up really nicely. So as I port back, I see the Siphon is up and I look to kill it. But I realize that my Feral is lining it. So instead of going back to kill it, I'm going to instantly go over and get some pressure over here and double sweep the DPS because they do stun up my healer. The Priest is going to trinket out of this. And then they're going to look to do some pressure here on me after the stun is over. And then I kill the Sky Fury, and I notice my team is pulling back over here, and I don't want to be out by myself with the Stormkeeper. I do have Diffuse, but my teammates are both over there, so I want to just go with my team, and because they're line of sighting here, I'm just going to quickly go and follow my team, making sure we're all on the same page and we're not out of sync. Because if I'm just sitting in there and doing damage while my teammates are back, especially with a double melee comp like Windwalker Feral, we have to both be in or both be out. We can't just go in one at a time, or that's how we're going to lose a lot of pressure and lose the game that way. So I'm going to go back with my teammates. I'm going to ROP them back over here. The Ellie does get a jump over that, but I do have the Priest and the Shaman ROPed back over there. So I'm going to swap to the Shaman here as he comes in and start to do some big pressure. And then the Priest is getting a little close in here to my healer. So I want to go to the Priest real quick and just make sure he's not able to cast. He cancels his mind games. I don't use my kick yet, which is good. So then my Feral is going over to the Ellie Shaman, and I go to look to do some pressure. I'm rooted, but I don't have Tiger's Lust. So I do try to diffuse the root off, but I do get popped up. But it ended up being good because I can just go over there. And because we just have a lot of pressure here, I just throw out my diffuse because I really need to do pressure here. Dampening's pretty high. It's 46% right now. My Feral puts the Ellie in a full stun with no trinket, so I need to get over there to do damage on that stun to close out the game. So I'm going to diffuse that off, get over to the Shaman here. I'm going to in-cap the Resto on his heal as I strike with the Windlord the Shaman. He's going to trinket out of that in-cap, and then we're going to able to gas pedal the Ellie Shaman down here for the win. So he does mind games me here, and my Dwarf is coming up in 2 seconds. So as soon as my Dwarf is up, I'm going to Dwarf off the mind games, and then we're going to be able to close out the game on the Shaman. I see a Siphon up, but dampening is really high. Heals aren't doing much anyway, and I know I can kill the Shaman. If I go over there and kill the Siphon, I could potentially throw the round because we're so far deep into dampening. Me and the Feral have pressure on the Shaman. So instead of going over to kill the Siphon, we gas pedal the Ellie Shaman, get a stun, I channel my Fists of Fury, and because I have that open global from channeling my Fist of Fury. I'm spamming my Touch of Death, and then I get the Touch of Death on the Ellie Shaman to win the round. Alright, for this next round, we're playing Windwalker, Shadow Priest, Resto Shaman. This was actually the first comp I got rank 1 with, so I'm very experienced with this comp. And because I don't need to detox any poisons or diseases, I'm going to take a point out of detox and put it into Eye of the Tiger. So we're looking to train down the Ellie Shaman with good healer swaps and all around just tabbing with my Kiefers to do lots of pressure. So we're going to start on the Ellie Shaman here. And I'm not going to open up with a leg sweep, mainly because the Evoker has his nullifying shroud up and I can't CC him. And I don't really want to sweep the Ellie Shaman because the Evoker can just fly him out of the sweep. And just like use his grip and just take him out of my sweep. So I don't want to sweep just yet. I'm just going to pop off with damage here. We get a fear on the Feral after my Shaman gets a really nice root on him out of stealth here. So I'm going to go in and because they're kind of far away, I can't really get a double sweep there. So I'm just going to end up just popping my pure damage on the Shaman without leg sweeping him. So we get wall. I'm going to tab right over to the Evoker, doing huge damage to this Evoker here. And then as soon as I see Skyfear, I'm going to turn around, kill it, go back to the Shaman as he's in the pool. This pool, when it's on my team, it actually gives a 50% Mortal Strike while they're in the pool, which is really good. So I want to sit there and do that. Hit him in the pool as he walks out. I tab over to the Feral as they go back there. I don't want to chase too hard over there. So as soon as I see the Feral back there, and I have my Kiefers available, I want to tab over to the Feral here and get that benefit out of my Kiefers. Just tabbing around doing maximum damage and pressure as I can. Seeing as I'm doing insane damage right here, I'm maximizing my burst cooldowns with my Kiefers as well. So we're putting out a lot of pressure, which is really important. Pressure and momentum in solo shuffle is really important. Like, you need to ride the momentum sometimes to win the games. So here, he pops Stormkeeper on me. I'm going to diffuse that so I don't take a lot of damage here. And then we're going to look to do a go on the Ellie Shaman. So I'm going to sweep the Ellie Shaman here, and then I'm going to incap the Evoker. I was on global, so he did get the fly over there, but we do, as he dispels that, and we get a nice double cap on the DPS as he's in the Horrify, and then we get to burst down this Ellie Shaman here. He's going to take a lot of damage here, and then my Shaman gets a nice pool as well. So we're basically just chasing down the Ellie Shaman here, because my team is with me. My team isn't very far back, and the fact that my team is with me, it allows me to sort of push over and train this Ellie more, which is really nice. He instantly kicks the lasso, beautiful. So I'm able to just train down the Ellie, kill the Sky Fury right away. I'm going to trade out my Karma here. I'm taking a bunch of damage here, and I want to make it a lot easier for my Shaman to top me off so he can be aggressive as well. So I'm going to Phalanx Stomp the Shaman here, and then I'm going to incap the healer to do a little mini go, shove it in between, proc my Kiefers. We get a fear off that, which pulls the Evoker's Trinket and Emerald Communion. The fact that the Evoker doesn't have his Trinket or his Emerald Communion is really good for us, because those are his two major saves for his team, to Trinket out of something and fly my sweep, or to use that Emerald Communion while CC'd. So we're going to continue pushing to the Ellie here, but the Feral swaps to me, and I sort of want to just chill back for a bit and make it a little bit easier for my Shaman to top me up here. So I'm going to, as the Feral pushes out, I'm going to roll over, get that sweep. Unfortunately, I didn't get it on the Feral, but I did get it on the healer, which is good as well. I do have my Strike of the Windlord and my Thunder Fist up. So we're going to do some good pressure to this Feral, proc his Frenzy, get his wall, and as soon as we get that Feral's wall, I'm going to roll back here and rot myself and just let my Shaman top me off a little bit more before I do go back in. So as we get a little bit of more health, I'm going to go back into the Ellie Shaman, which we have a lot of pressure on. He pops his wall. I'm going to incap the healer here, and because he's so low, and I have my Serenity up, I'm going to go through this wall here. So I do get stunned, but as my incap's fading, we do get a nice double fear on the DPS here. The Shaman doesn't have Tremor from the last fear, so we get a nice instant win share on that lasso again. So I'm going to be able to just tireless roll out of this, and we're going to finish off the Ellie Shaman to win round 3. So I'm back again with the Feral and reversing the double caster again, and I'm going to be taking Detox again to get those Devouring Plagues off. So we're going to run in, and right away I'm going to instantly just sweep the Shaman and just do big pressure. My Pharaoh's going to stun the Trinket, and then I'm going to do huge damage to the Shaman, pop my Serenity, Strike of the Windlord, we get his wall, instantly tapping over to the Evoker. I don't want to hit into that wall right away because the Shaman's 100%, they still have a lot of cooldowns, so I'm going to be doing my maximum damage output that I can. But as the Evoker roots me and I see my Shaman's we kind of left my Shaman behind here, and the Priest has a Siphon on him, so instead of chasing back here, trying to hit the Evoker and the Ellie Shaman back here, I'm going to need to go over and help my healer here. So instead of chasing that Ellie Shaman, I need to go right back and help my healer out. So I'm going to kill the Siphon here, and then I'm going to tab to the Priest and just do big pressure to this Priest here. So I see the Shaman has a Stormkeeper up and some meatballs are coming my way. I'm going to diffuse that damage. I'm going to get topped off by my healer, which is really nice. Dispel my Devouring Plague. And then, as soon as we're all in one unit, we're not split up, we're not far away from each other, it's right back to the Ellie Shaman, which is our primary kill target versus this, which is our best kill target to be on, primarily. So, he grips him away, and then we're going to look to do a setup on the Ellie Shaman. So I'm going to Phalanx Stomp, I'm going to incap the Evoker, and my Pharaoh gets a nice maim stun on the Ellie Shaman as I get that incap. So I'm basically waiting for stun DR, and it lines up really nice with my incap. So my incap's up in 5 seconds, and stun DR is off on the Ellie Shaman. So as soon as I get there, my Pharaoh's on target, and we're both here. I'm going to Phalanx Stomp, and then I'm going to incap, because my Phalanx Stomp can actually go pretty far, and it could potentially break my incap. So, and also, it gives me a free global as well, so I'm able to pump more damage. Because Phalanx Stomp is mainly for the damage increase, not necessarily because it does a lot of damage itself. So I get that 8% damage increase up with my Phalanx Stomp, and then I incap after detoxing my Devouring Plague, and then I have my Strike of the Windlord ready for this stun. And then we get to just crank the Ellie Shaman in the stun, and that's going to force out the Emerald Communion from the Evoker, and we also get the Shaman's Dwarf, which is really big defensive cooldown versus my Feral Druid. So now he's not going to be able to dwarf off all his bleeds, and we just got the Evoker's biggest healing cooldown, which is really good for us. So now we're just going to gas pedal the Ellie Shaman a little bit. We got a bunch of cooldowns, and now they're pushing into my healer. So I'm going to have to play defensive here soon. As soon as he gets a full fear on my healer, I'm going to instantly Serpent Kick back to the pillar. Mainly because my port is right here, and I need to get to this pillar because I was a little far out for my port. So I get back to this pillar. I'm going to set a new port down, and then I'm going to look to line the Ellie Shaman, but then I'm going to root the Priest as well. While my healer gets CC'd, I'm going to root the Priest, and then I'm going to line the Priest as well. Because I rooted the Priest here, and he stuns my Shaman off that silence, I'm able to line the Ellie Shaman and the Priest there for a second. And then as soon as I get top back up, it's back in, go to kill the Siphon. Feral already kills it. Perfect. Then it's back in to kill, to do pressure on the Ellie Shaman. They kill the Sky Fury, get the pull down. I get Mind Games here, so I'm going to instantly just dwarf off this Mind Games, and I'm going to get a bunch of offensive bonuses from dwarfing off this Mind Games from my Dwarf Racial, which is really good. I'm going to roll over, incap that healer. We get a kick on the lasso, so I'm able to leg sweep the Shaman, and then the Priest grips them. And then, because they're stacked on top, it's really good. I get a double Strike of the Windlord here. The Priest swaps, I tab right over, and we force his Disperse, which is really good. So the Priest disperses, it's right back to the Ellie Shaman, doing huge damage to him, rolling in, chasing here, because we do have a lot of pressure here. And my healer gets feared here, and they chunk me pretty low. So instead of staying in here, I don't have my Karma or my Diffuse or my Wall. I don't have any defensive cooldown. So because I got that new port right here when I had to line earlier, I do get that port. I'm able to detox my Devouring Plague. I rop the Priest away, and then my Shaman links me. Once I get a little bit of healing here, I'm right back in. As soon as I get to a good health, it's right back in to do pressure. I don't want to be lining for too long. Solo Shuffle is all about momentum. I want to be trading up my cooldowns, and I want to be doing as much pressure as I can. So as soon as I get HP, I'm right back in, hitting the Ellie Shaman. I have my go coming up soon. The Shaman walls. So I'm rolling over and I'm hitting the priest here. We get a nice pull, we get a stun on top of that, and we're just cranking this priest here with the Kiefers. And then the priest has no disperse, so we're just going to gas pedal the priest for a little bit. I'm going to trade out my karma as the Stormkeeper bolts fly, and then we're going to kill the Psyfiend right away, hitting the priest for now, and then we finish off the priest. So lots of gas pedaling going on. We don't want to lose our momentum. You want to kite while your healer's in CC. If you have to, if you have a defensive cooldown to trade to keep up the pressure, generally I'm just trading out my defensives to then keep the pressure going if I do have kill pressure, which is really important in these solo shuffle matchups. Alright, so 5th round, we get the Ellie Shaman again. So it's Windwalker, Ellie Shaman, Evoker versus Feral Priest, Resto Shaman. So we're going to want to be gas pedaling the Priest, but as well, keeping in mind, when I'm playing with a new DPS, I want to play accordingly. I don't want to go and push overextend to something that my Ellie can't hit. I want to keep up the pressure generally in the same vicinity as my Ellie. So as soon as I see the Priest and the Shaman group up, I want to just Serpent Kick in there and get that double leg sweep. So after I set my port down, even though I mounted up, I see a good positioning here. I don't want to roll because my roll isn't going to take me there in time. I need to use my Serpent Kick to close the distance and get the double leg sweep right away to get that pressure rolling. So the Feral's going to open up on me with a Rake Stun instead of my Shaman, which is really good because generally they're just going to train down my Shaman. But because I do that, my Shaman's able to get some pressure rolling. My Evoker breaths over top of that. And then I'm able to start gas pedaling this Priest. I'm going to pop my Serenity, strike the Windlord. We get him down to 3%, but their Shaman pops Ascendance, and I'm not able to touch and death him. I'm going to go swap over to that Psyfiend, kill it right away. And then, because we got those cooldowns out of the Priest, and our kill pressures over on the Priest, I'm going to instantly tab over to the Feral with my Kiefers, creating pressure, doing big damage. I see that Healing Tide Totem right away. I'm going to Kiefers over to it, kill the Tide Totem, and then I see the Shaman. The Feral's over there, and my Kiefers has run out. So I see the Shaman here. I'm going to tap him with my Kiefers to keep the pressure rolling, doing huge damage to the Shaman with my Kiefers up. And then I do get Mind Games, which I'm going to dwarf off. I'm going to dwarf off all the bleeds and the Mind Games before the stun, which is really good. And then I'm going to get a bunch of offensive bonuses. So I'm going to continue back on the Priest. Since the Priest is our main kill target, we want to be swapping around a lot after we get those cooldowns from the Priest so we can force even more pressure. And once we force those original cooldowns from the Priest and we swap around, then we go right back to the Priest because that is our main kill target. So I'm back on the Priest currently. I'm going to in-cap the Shaman as the Priest gets low. I'm going to send my Strike the Windlord with that in-cap. And then it's going to force the Shadow Priest Dwarf, which is pretty good. And then we're just going to continue to hit the Shadow Priest. I'm going to instantly roll out of that Unleash Shield because it's very important to get out of those Unleash Shields. And then I get a double leg sweep as they group up, which gets the Feral's Trinket. And then we're going to kill that Psyfiend. I try to pin the Shaman against the ramp with the Rot, but it did delay his cast, which is still alright. And then I'm going to diffuse that damage and swap to the Ellie Shaman with that Lasso. And then again, just back to the Priest. Soul Shuffle is all about pressure. Pressure, pressure, pressure. Swap to this. Get cooldowns with your Kiefers. Look, I get Disperse. I'm instantly over to the Feral, Kiefers, Strike of the Windlord, get the Earthen Totem, back on the Priest. And then once we get that, Feral's BM and his wall. So we're back on the Priest here. He's nice and in my Ellie line, so I can just train him here. And we're looking to finish off the game here. So I do get a double leg sweep as they group up here, and especially with the range talent on your leg sweep, you can get insane double leg sweep lineups here. So I do get that double leg sweep, and then it forces both their trinkets as the Feral bashes me, which is really nice. So I'm going to instantly kill the Psyfiend, and then we're right back to the Priest. So with an Ellie Shaman, I can definitely force out a lot of pressure by just hitting and swapping around, but I need to be making sure that my Ellie is able to hit the same target that I can when I'm applying that Mortal Strike. So a little bit scary. I do get a Mind Games on me. My clear dispels, so that's going to be my karma. And I want to get out of that Unleash as soon as possible because it is a healing reduction as well as a damage reduction on me, or to my damaging abilities. So again, a lot of what I'm doing with my incap goes with my Serenity is that in between my incap goes, I'm sending a Strike the Windlord and an incap go when I do have that Serenity available. So I'm going to pop my Serenity, and then I'm going to Strike the Windlord with that incap. And then even when I don't have my Serenity available, but I do have a Strike the Windlord and an incap, I'm always wanting to incap the healer and then send the Strike of the Windlord on the DPS to create that pressure. So here, we're a little all in here. My Evoker should have me here because he does still have his cooldowns. He uses Time Dilate on me, and he's able to top me up here. And we're going to force out that Link. So we're going to gas pedal this Priest. My Shaman lassos their Shaman for CC, and we're able to kill the Priest. And then we won round 5, which is 5 wins so far. My Priest does get a little bit angry here because he only has 1 win, but we are closing it out with some Windwalker Shadow Priest with an Evoker versus Ellie Feral with a Resto Shaman. So I'm going to swap out that Detox. Go for the Eye of the Tiger. Don't need to detox anything. So here I really want to play aggressive with the Shadow Priest. I want to send the go right away. I want to get pressure as soon as possible. I want to leg sweep right away. I want to pop my cooldowns, and I want to tab around with my Kiefers once we force some pressure. So I'm going to Tiger right away. I'm going to Trinket out of this lasso, get a triple leg sweep, and then I'm going to Fade Line Stomp. I'm going to the Ellie Shaman hasn't walled yet, which is really important. If the Ellie Shaman walls, I want to send my damage elsewhere. But after I get that triple leg sweep, you get a nice silence off of that leg sweep. And then we send the damage to the Ellie Shaman, which then he walls. So I'm going to incap the healer, which then he trinkets out of and then gets feared on the trinket. But he gets tremoured out by the Ellie Shaman, which is okay. And then I see the Resto Shaman right on top of me because he did just have to link. His HP is a little bit lower, and I do have my Kiefers available. So I'm tabbing right over to the Resto Shaman, doing big pressure, trying to close out this game. And then I'm able to kill the Resto Shaman, and then we get 6 wins in that 2900 MMR lobby. And it's going to be a nice little boost in CR for the Solo Shuffle ladder climb. Thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed the commentary, more so focused on the gameplay, not necessarily my damage rotation. I do have a burst video that will be linked in the description as well to basically just go over my burst rotation and the talents I'm doing. My talents will be linked for the import string down below, and also be sure to check out my Twitch stream, twitch.tv/ZugZugTV for more great Windwalker content.